Welcome to the Pennsylvania Secondary Transition Connecting for Employment Training Series. The goal of this series is to help educators and community agency personnel learn about each other's respective roles in secondary transition planning and how working together can lead to a lifelong success for students with disabilities. Secondary transition planning is a process that guides a youth from high school into adult living after they leave school. One key element in secondary transition is planning for a student's future career, which is what we will be focusing on in this series. Planning begins at age 14 or younger if determined appropriate by the Individualized Education Program or IEP team and continues through high school as academic instruction, services, activities, and community experiences help clarify and support students' goals related to employment. Strong secondary transition planning starts with effective transition practices within a school. There is no one route to a successful transition. Each student's route is determined by his or her needs. Some students may need or want involvement from community agencies to help meet their needs, while others may not. By having a high-level understanding of the availability of agency services, educators can help students and their families make informed choices about agency involvement in secondary transition planning. Therefore, an educator's role in cross-agency collaboration is to know who agencies are, understand why having involvement from agencies during secondary transition planning is important, share relevant information with students and families, engage in conversations with students and families about the benefits of agency involvement to help them make an informed choice, and invite agencies to attend IEP meetings at appropriate times. Just knowing what agencies exist and what services they can provide takes research and planning. This series will focus on getting to know two key partners, the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, known as OVR, and the Office of Developmental Programs, known as ODP. OVR and ODP are the state agencies that provide or fund services that may be helpful on the transition journey. Each of these agencies has a large network of community providers that deliver services. This video will use a roadmap to illustrate how the education, OVR, and ODP systems can work together to ensure the best outcomes for students. Now, let's take a look at the roadmap. The secondary transition process is divided into three broad stages: early high school, late high school, and after high school. In practice, most attention is given to secondary transition during late high school and shortly after. Under the Employment First Act, competitive integrated employment is the first consideration and preferred outcome for publicly funded services. This is indicated by the welcome sign on the right side of the map. Competitive integrated employment is work where the employee with a disability earns minimum wage or higher, interacts with other people who do not have a disability, and is paid at least the same rate, provided with the same benefits, and presented with the same opportunities for advancement similar to people without disabilities that perform the same work with similar training, experience, and skills. This employment can be full-time or part-time and includes self-employment. Often, the route to competitive integrated employment is not a direct route and is full of twists and turns. Accessing different agencies along the way can help remove roadblocks and find new roads on the path to employment. Each system is represented by a single color, as indicated by the map legend in the lower right-hand corner. The colors on the road represent the stages in the secondary transition process in which a student may be able to access that system. An individual can access the roads or agencies at different points as needed. Let's take a closer look at each phase. The beginning of the secondary transition process begins at age 14 and is represented on the roadmap as a bridge. Because a student may receive special education or ODP services well before high school, those roads are seen prior to the bridge. A student may also be involved with OVR's Bureau of Blindness and Visual Services at an earlier age and is represented by a thin road prior to the bridge. When crossing the bridge, note the billboards that explain a little about each agency. Continuing down the road, the next stop could be OVR's Introductory Pre-Employment Transition Services, also called Pre-ETS. These services are available to help students explore options and develop work skills during the early high school stage. There are 5 types of pre-ETS which are represented on the roadmap as a roundabout, since students may need none, some, or all of these services. If an individual needs more individualized or intensive services, they may open an individualized case with OVR. This typically begins 2 years prior to graduation, overlapping with special education services in the late high school stage, though it can happen earlier based on need. Not all students will choose to apply for individualized OVR services. Moving closer to graduation, an ODP supports coordinator will also collaborate with the school and OVR as appropriate to ensure a student's needs are being met. ODP offers services and supports to people with an intellectual disability or autism to achieve greater independence, choice, and opportunity in their lives. In this series, the focus will be on ODP's services that support individuals to find and maintain competitive integrated employment. Special education services end when a student obtains their diploma, while OVR and ODP services can continue into adulthood. OVR and ODP may be able to provide funding for services such as post-secondary education or training, supported employment, or job placement services. Reaching the successful competitive integrated employment sign, notice that an individual's OVR case is typically closed once employment is obtained and stabilized, whereas ODP may offer ongoing services that support long-term success as the road continues into the future. However, a person may revisit OVR as many times as needed to obtain and maintain their employment goals, represented by the dashed line on the map. These systems are united by a common goal: employment and independence for all individuals that they serve. When educators and agencies work collaboratively to provide coordinated and complementary services and supports, they help create a bridge for students with disabilities from school to post-school activities and environments. Additional videos in this series will provide more details about the role of each of these entities in secondary transition planning.